Hello, folks. I greet you from the bottom of my heart and from the house of Enterprise TV. We are in a holiday mood. Nigeria is 64, and you cannot take that away from us. So, welcome to Homo Politicus. Um, this morning, we look at Nigeria at 64, President Tinubu, and a beguiling Independence Day broadcast. Hear this. I know you are struggling, but my reforms are showing positive signs. That's the president. You know, the aging British author Alan Moore said, people shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people. End quote. A corollary to this test statement is the one that says, an animal that escapes being trapped is always afraid of a bent stick. Nigerians, loosely speaking, have been to the mountaintop, seen it all, and unlike the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., do not have a dream. In commemoration of the 64th anniversary of our independence from Britain on October 1st, President Bola Tinubu made a passionate plea to countrymen and women. In parts, he said, I know you are struggling, facing rising cost of daily living. We are committed to finding sustainable solutions to alleviate the suffering of our citizens. I plead for your patience as the reforms we are implementing show positive signs, and we are beginning to see light at the end of the tunnel, end quote. Now, let's remind Mr. President that patience is not simply the ability to wait, it is how we behave while we're waiting. In the words of the great father of modern India, Mahatma Gandhi, to lose patience is to lose the war. We should never have been here at 64 in the first place. Or should we? Shall we have a conversation, please? My conversationalists, I dare say, have lived the better part of their lives in this country, and so they are counting with the country. So let's meet and greet journalist and political commentator Emeka Madunagu. Emeka, welcome.
Yeah, hello. Happy Independence to us all.
All right, then. Emeka is joined by barrister Dami Damola Kolawole. That's a double barrel. He's a security consultant and expert. I greet you. Welcome.
Good morning.
Happy Independence Day.
Same to you.
Okay.
Happy Independence.
So, like it or not, we are 64. Age, they say, is a number. But, gentlemen, at 64, Nigeria, which it started big with all the endowments. At 64, Nigeria, as I always like to say, is in a very bad place. Avoidably.
Well, I wouldn't be so gloomy.
Blunt?
Yeah, well, not blunt.
Okay.
If I were to be blunt, I would agree with you.
Okay.
But I would prefer to be, well, you might say I'm naive or stupid or something, but I'll prefer to be an incurable optimist.
Okay.
Yes, because I have lived, like you said in your prologue, I've lived the better part of my life in Nigeria, and I am a historian by training, and so there's a lot about Nigeria that I have, been taught about in school, and then experienced, and I do know that Nigeria has come a long way. Had independence, we've had epochal achievements. There have been so many wonderful moments. We've gone through a civil war, we've gone through military coups, we've gone through democracy, and thankfully we're still in a democracy. Although a friend of mine would prefer to say we are practicing democratic activities, not yet a democracy. But I want to believe that gradually we will get there, because when I look at other nations, the United States, I look at China, which incidentally is also celebrating its independence today, and then a number of other nations. When you read their histories, you find out that they had very troubling moments. Some nations like Yugoslavia broke into pieces. even though they broke into pieces, the component parts are still not at peace. And so I want to
by the way, peace, they say, is not necessarily the absence of
war. Yes, life itself is a war. But I want to believe that, we need to get to that point where we begin to have more Nigerians than more regionalists or ethnicists, if you permit that word. I don't know if such a word exists. Ethnicists.
Yeah.
Because I believe, like I said yesterday on a TV program, on Saturday on a TV program, that Nigeria is a bigger field for all of us to play. Yes, we have wonderful, territories, ethnic territories from where we supposedly, originate. But Nigeria is a bigger field, that holds a bigger promise for us to attain
Emeka, but
potential.
Nature is benevolent as it is unforgiving. If you mess with nature, it messes with you.
Yeah, but all you just have to do is repent.
I will not accept with your mild, understanding of the fact that Nigeria is coming to be good. I'm going to be a little bit critical about the Nigerian state that we have today. Nigeria is sick. As a matter of fact, Nigeria needs surgical operation.
And many parts of Nigeria are hurting.
Do you know that it is not easy to put something on nothing?
No, it's...
You see, you don't give what you don't. Nemo that not a bit. You don't give what you don't have. You see, the Nigerian state itself, if you look at the fabrication of the Nigerian state, you will discover the fact that the foundation of the Nigerian state is a foundation that was actually planned not to work. Because how do you give a name Nigeria given by a prostitute?
No. The word prostitute...
that is the way we Africans regard a mistress that goes away with a man, that there is no appropriate union between them.
But there's some controversy about the origin of name Nigeria.
Anyway,
even before that, there had been every man has a woman in his life.
Well, we should understand the context by the union of Lord Lugard and Flora Shaw as at that time. But let's come to terms with it. If we go by...
No. Without meaning to interject unnecessarily.
Okay.
Yes, Shaw and Lugard may have made that mistake, but they left us 64 years ago.
That is where I'm coming to. See, the foundation of the Nigerian state and the mistake of 1914. Let's look at the amalgamation. This is amalgamation of straight bedfellows. It's still obvious today. Because when you leave Lagos and you go to Maiduguri, leave Maiduguri and go to Minna, you see a whole lot of, diversities that is quite difficult for you to say you want to harmonize. We say we should come together and unity in diversity. That diversity itself, has it been appropriately negotiated? Okay, now when we look at the evolution of even the constitutional development of Nigeria, go back to the Clifford Constitution, go back to the Richard Constitution, go back to the Mafosa Constitution, into the Leiden Constitution. Look at what happened in the Hugo Willings Commission. This is just the fear of, the indigenization, the fear of the minorities, which culminated into, the hurriedly given independence of 1960. Look, all this, ordinarily, we will go back to the fact that the foundation of the Nigerian state is shrouded in what we consider as, what you have today. What you have today is what you call post-colonialism and post-imperialism.
Let's provoke a conversation,
a
monologue. Because if I defer to you, we may not speak again.
Oh no!
But you see, I'm saying in 64 years, Nigeria has seen the best, and if you like, the worst.
Oh, ironically. The best,
ironically. In passing, referred to coups. We have chalked up 9 coups, 5 of them successful, contextually, and 4 unsuccessful. Wow. For one country, it's one coup too many. But we should have learned from the mistake. They say, you Yorubas have a popular saying, very common in my place. They say, if small pikin fall, na front he go look. But if old man fall, he go look back.
And see if he mistakes.
No. more. See how many people see him fall.
Oh no, not necessarily.
But if old man fall, somebody or you go see him.
Yes, somebody go see am, but not be the person wey see am. The old man.
I agree.
The old man is basically concerned about what fell him to ensure the fact that there is no other fall another time.
That means we don't fall once too many. The experts say it is not falling. They say the Japanese proverb is fall down. The secret of success is fall down 7 times, get up 8 times. But we are falling down 7 times and refuse to get up how many times?
When you look at the theory of structural functionalism, you will understand the fact that when structures are not properly built, are not effectively built, naturally whatever institution you build on those structures will not function.
I agree.
Look at Nigeria's constitution. That is a constitution that is inherited. Do you expect somebody to give you something for free? That is not, you see, there is no way. Okay, look at the preamble of Nigerian constitution. We, the Nigerian people. When is that we, the Nigerian people? There is no we, the Nigerian. There has never been the we, the Nigerian people. The fact that we are developing constitutional review, constitutional amendment, constitutional this, constitutional that.
You confirm.
Oh well, you can. You see, all these are just mere, going around jamboree.
So before we came on air, I tickled your fancy. I asked if we were acting out a script. You talked about script writers and blah blah blah.
Okay,
you think the script is still there?
Oh my God! Look, listen to me. Whatever we are doing now, you should understand that the oligarchy or those that consider themselves and have the iron hand of,
the owners.
The owners. No, I wouldn't want to affect you because I'm a local parentis in the constitution, so I don't want to dance in that thing. But you should understand that look, now it's a common balance in Nigeria now when you talk about the godfatherism. And it's actually, something that are actually become...
They are becoming substitutes for democracy.
Yes, you see, because you see, when we interpret politics, according to our last word, you say politics is who gets what, when and how. Now they are dictating in the context of the fact that, you see, the kind of politics they play is politics of who gets what. Whichever way you get it, however way you get it, and whenever way you get it.
Emeka, you know that song? Shina like this we go the day.
Oh, no, well, we can. Why did I say what I said, earlier? Was that I read J.F. Kennedy's biography.
Okay.
And I saw a lot of interesting things I could use to draw a parallel with Nigeria's history.
Yeah.
What we have today, which Barris, alluded to godfatherism and nepotism and all of that, were actually very well entrenched in the American society.
Okay.
Yes. Interestingly, one of such godfathers, was actually the father of J.F. Kennedy. He was an influence peddler. Influence peddler.
Okay.
But you know what? J.F. Kennedy got to a point. He wasn't actually the one the father, wanted to become anything, It was his elder brother, Joe. Who joined the Air Force. But unfortunately, while he was, flying bombs, during the Second World War. So,
got killed?
Got killed. The plane crashed. And, so, well, the father, of course, being an influential American, just didn't want to lose her because he never had any hope in his second son, J.F. Kennedy was always very sick, always sickly. So the father didn't really have any hope.
Yeah.
But, well, the father now got to a record moment, and I have it moment. Okay, if since Joe is out of the way, well, maybe I should invest attention in JF, and let's see where it takes us. And it was actually a good investment. He became a senator, and then gradually became president, and made that famous quote: "Ask not what your country will do for you, but what you will do for your country."
Yeah.
So that, helped him to have a different idea to say, yes, I won't discard the past, but
his influence soared. Let me add this: when he averted the missile crisis.
Yeah.
Russia.
Now, which is where
the Cuban crisis.
Yeah, the Cuban crisis, missile crisis. So, which is where I'm going to. that, you see, we have such leaders, who keep bringing up their children as if they are the only, the kind, human beings that, yes,
since sliced bread.
yes, other Nigerians don't matter, but we are getting to the point where, Nigerians will begin to ask questions. Now, wait a minute. This nation, we are all stakeholders in this nation. Why do some people expect that, we, the people, should be like second class, third class citizens? Why those who are, the ruling elite, who believe they've captured the states, they've captured the executive, the legislature, the judiciary, and so that they can keep us subservient.
But you remember that Karl Marx and his friend Engels talked about the class war.
Class theory.
It will continue.
Yes. And in fact, when you look at that class, when you look at the class struggle issue, you go and look at the Pareto issue, the circulation of elite.
Yes.
Basically, the elite wants to reinvent itself no matter what. And look, see,
to what purposes? That's what I'm looking at. Repurposing the power of the elite.
the elite will not want to.
Sorry, the role of the elite. The essence of the elite.
Let me tell you something. See, if we are looking at the essence of the elite and the role of the elite are two different things. The role of the elite in the real sense, if it is what it should be, you understand the London scale, what it should be, what it ought to be is different from what it should be. You see, they are two different things. Because you see, the Nigerian state, with the way it is now, the elites are not interested in the generality. If you look at the means and manner that we plan to place the soul of man, the guardian, the auxiliary, and the artisans. The guardian is seen as the philosopher king that is meant to rule.
Yeah.
The auxiliary are supposed to protect the guardian, and the artisans as mere subjects that are meant to be ruled.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, the thrust of this discourse is having to do with President Tinubu's passionate plea to Nigerians. Be patient. I know you are going through hell. You remember it was Winston Churchill who said, if you are going through hell, keep going. But you ask here, the president says there's light at the end of the tunnel. He sees the light coming through that tunnel. Nobody, are we sure it is not the headlamps of an onrushing train?
It is when you get to the end of the tunnel that you see the light. Are you sure the light is still there?
Many Nigerians people watch that speech because they don't have light in their homes.
So it's not that they can understand that the person. What I'm talking about the patience. Yes, a whole lot of persons have that belief in the incoming of the president in 2023. Some persons still have the belief. Yes, I'm an exception anyway, but some persons still have the belief in the context of the slogan, "It built Lagos." In the context of that understanding, for what Lagos is today, a lot of people still have that belief. But let me tell you, those who initially had the belief are beginning to have a rethink, because both the rich, in fact, there's no middle class anymore. There's no middle class anymore. It's either you are rich or you are poor.
Okay, you belong up there.
No, I'm with you.
Where is me?
We are together. You see,
I cannot forget, I quoted him not too long ago, Mahatma Gandhi. He said, to lose patience is to lose the war. Don't you think Nigerians are tiring?
Well, you should understand.
So how long more should we be patient?
Look, okay, now we're supposed to be patient in the plethora of, financial recklessness that you can see. We are supposed to be patient. We are supposed to be patient in the understanding of the fact that there is a judiciary which I belong to, which is not utterly independent. We are supposed to be patient. The constitutional provision, if you look at the judiciary as the last, port of call of the common person, look at the judiciary in the way the judiciary is built. Who becomes the CGN becomes the chairman, National Judicial Council. becomes the chairman, legal practitioners disciplinary committee, becomes the chairman, legal practitioners privileges committee, becomes the chairman of all the institutions that has to do with the judiciary. Then let's come to start with this. Who appoints the CGN? The executive. That's section 5 of the constitution. Appoint section 6 of the constitution for subject to the confirmation of section 4 of the constitution. If you look at that on its own, it means that section 5 aggregates all the powers, dictates the direction by which the judiciary, even that you call the last port of call of the common person, the decision it dictates. So in the context of all that, you will understand the fact that you don't have a constitutional right. Look, even the constitution itself withdraws your fundamental rights.
All right, Barrister Dan Akolawole, we talked before we came on air. We discussed the judiciary in this country has thrown up great men and women, and we named some of them.
That's correct.
Was that not enough to have rubbed off on practitioners like you?
See, it is
why did we drop the ball?
Look, it is past in the date when you have a president who decides to be in the executive and then practice the separation of power as postulated by Baron de Montesquieu. That is in the past that you have presidents that decide to stay within the ambit of the rule of law as postulated by A.B. Daisy. Now, you see, the system we practice now is an erosion into that separation of power, because you can see that those who are supposed to actually maintain oversight function decide to run to another section to take orders before actually. You see, so it is so sad that we don't have it exactly as postulated and exactly as enshrined in the Constitution.
Gentlemen, 64 years after and still counting, how long more must we wait before we get to the promised land? Is there a promised land for us?
Okay, well, yeah, you see, that's why I said that I will not be totally, I don't believe it's totally doom and gloom. Because the times when we just looked away, well, let me just look for my daily bread, those times are gone. Now we are, like they say on the street, we are shining our eyes and asking questions. We're asking probing questions. Now, these are the questions that the politicians, those, the greedy, really, they don't want people to ask. But people are asking the questions nevertheless. And because they are comfortable, they are comfortable with those questions, they are looking for ways, to repress human rights. But one thing is this, the world has gone past that. Benevolent dictators are being dismantled across the world. You've seen what Israel has been doing, with its adversaries, dismantling them left, right, and center, and then, of course, you've seen what Russia thought they could just roll into Ukraine and, take over everywhere. But surprisingly, Ukraine has been giving it to them hot.
Here.
Yes, and here and there, you had the Mobutu Sese Seko was dismantled. Muammar Gaddafi, benevolent dictator, did well for his people, but it's to Saddam Hussein and the rest of them. Even look at the ISIS leader who ruled on the benevolence of the United States, but now thought himself to be a terror to the world. Of course, he was a dismantled Al Qaeda, Bin Laden, and all of that.
Was taken out, yeah.
Yeah. So what am I trying to say is that there will come a time when Nigerians will say enough is enough. And I hope, I said this many times, that the greedy ruling elite will understand that whatever guns they have, bullets or whatever they have, will not save them when that time comes.
Not to worry, because the old saying is there's nothing quite like an old idea whose time has come. So Nigeria's day in the sun, rather, Barrister Kolawole, is coming. You don't share that hope?
Well, you see, the fact that we might get to that stage of a revolution,
evolution.
It might not be a revolution.
I wouldn't say evolution. I would say revolution. You see, in fact, we have the revolution starting already, because people are actually speaking out. You can see, the controversy in context of the Nigerian Correctional Center, and some personalities now. And the question I was talking about, what I was talking about in recent times is, look, all these multifaceted, issues that you see and you hear that comes out in recent time, they've been there. It's not today.
Yeah.
You see, the fact that somebody is sentenced and the person did not actually, go by the sentence and did not, you see, no matter how mitigating or aggravating the sentence is, once you have the money to sort yourself out, the corruption in Nigeria is institutional.
Emeka, don't you feel a sense of angst when you listen to Barrister Kolawole? He appears to be perhaps in the only boat here.
No, we agree. We're the same. We agree. It does as well.
Maybe he's seeing what we are not seeing.
No, you see, he's like he said that he's going to take a blunt, drastic, look at the situation. I'm only hoping that we don't. That's what was that philosopher that said, those who make peaceful change impossible.
Yeah.
Will make violent change inevitable.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping we'll not get to that point, because if care not taken, we will get not just that point, beyond that point.
See, when you look at the Bahutus and the Batutis of Rwanda, it was a critical period.
Yes.
That critical period today, it is adding up, to who becomes the leader of that country, because they look, back, like, the adage of the Yoruba you said earlier, they look back and, you now have a president in that country who is willing to change the system, and everybody is looking up to the country now.
Yeah.
But look, there's a dichotomy between the international bourgeoisies and the petty bourgeoisies. You see, there's always an international cooperation.
Emeka, I agree to a certain degree with him, because the richest spot on planet Earth, experts have told us, and we agree, is the DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo.
That's it.
The eastern province, Katanga, is very rich in minerals, but that country cannot exploit that God-given endowments to personal advantage.
It's better. Okay,
Do you accede to what Kolawole told us? Perhaps the scriptwriter does not want a different act.
I'll give you two scenarios. One, DRC. Two, Bhutan. There's a nation called Bhutan.
Yeah.
Rich in natural resources and all of
Bhutan, yeah.
Well, Bhutan, the leaders of Bhutan said, listen, we want this place to be a tourist haven. We will not exploit these resources. Let them just be there. We want people to come to our country, enjoy the beauty of our country, enjoy themselves. That with tourism, if we manage our tourism resources, our revenues from tourism, we will be fine.
Yeah.
DRC now being unable to manage its resources, its extractive resources. Now these things are being controlled by warlords, by different characters.
Perhaps raised from somewhere.
Yes. The warlords are being provided with arms deals.
Yes. So you see, the idea that extracting resources necessarily make a nation wealthy needs to be discarded.
Do you know?
Sorry, let me just land on this. Do you know what? I can't tell people. That the biggest resource on earth, the biggest resource that mankind has been endowed with is our brain.
The human brain.
Human brain is a universe of its own.
I agree.
You see, you can leave the extractive. For instance, here, where this studio is, you can get some measure of crude oil from here. But those, who designed this area, said, no. We'll be better off, if we build a thriving real estate, real estate business and all other ancillary things, instead of bringing some oil companies to come and start digging holes everywhere and, the attendant pollution and all of that.
Yeah.
So it's about, like saying, it's about the choices we make, and choices have consequences. So we need to choose. For me, Africa must transcend that level of extractive, extract. We must get to the point where, if we're talking about agriculture, it should not just be carry harvest maize, take it to the market. Right there on your farm, you can build, small agro processing plants that you process so that if a time comes when that farming season is not very favorable,
Yeah.
you do not run out of food. You said earlier, you were talking about crude oil. Like I was telling you, you have 159 liters in every barrel of crude. From that barrel, you can even get up to 1,000 products, depending on your technology, depending on how you use your brain. You can add other things and come together. You just keep multiplying the products from the value chain.
Yeah. The producer is saying we must begin to head back home. But Sakola Ole, how do you take us home here? There's something you must live with. We are 64 years and still counting. The president is saying there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, you see, one thing I want to say is this. In context of trade, which actually had so much value in context of our economy, we don't have trade parity with all the countries that we tend to want to deal with. And then the Western countries are only relating with us with only three facts. And the three facts are, they are relating with us in interest. That is the post-colonial tendency of our raw materials. One, that's one major interest. Two, our manpower, all the visas everybody is running, the jackpot syndrome. You see, we are also the one to work in their industry. There. Two, the three, we are the market of whatever they produce. So how do we wriggle ourselves out of the President Wood Institute, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank? How do we wriggle ourselves? Do we have control over our economy? The answer is no. Any country in Africa that decides to want to stand on its own, bring in that principle and theory of protectionism, and try to create an idea isolationism away from the interest and the control of the modernization theory that made us dependent today, might be eliminated. So it's a drastic and critical issue.
Dami, so hear this. Thomas Sankara came like a leading light in his Burkina Faso. Changed the country's name from Upper Volta to Burkina Faso. And he blazed the trail. Are you saying that some juggernaut somewhere don't like a country like Burkina Faso going out of the woods? Can't we have a Thomas and Sankara here?
You see, it is possible we will someday. Let's hope that and we should understand that for whosoever rules Nigeria, there are factors, there are persons, there are institutions, there are non-state actors that are interested in who rules Nigeria. Because of what? Because of their selfish, interest. Because you see, they will never, like even the foundation of Nigeria since to the 1960s, they will never allow a think tank who will have that political will to want to change the fortune of this country and reorganize the structure of Nigerian state to rule Nigeria. They prefer the kind of persons that came together in a committee of that actually direct the. You see, it's not like the persons we have in government. It's not like the personalities we have in government. It's not like they don't think. They do. They know the right thing. You know quite well that you cannot stand on the podium and say, "Oh, the Nigerians, I'm removing this," because you know the ripple effect. But that ripple effect is going to be to the advantage of some persons, some non-state actors, some some personal interest. So all this.
Otherwise, not anybody who is president of a country like Nigeria who can be his own man.
No, you see, Nigeria we are so big. Okay, look, if we tend to practice the KC Ware postulation of true federalism, if we tend to practice that, you see, the international organization, there are a lot of persons there that does not want us to practice the postulation exactly the way it's been postulated. Because if we are supposed to practice that, then we'll be following the dictum of the Canadian system, where all component units are strong, developing at their own pace, and then the center unit is weak. and then the component units contribute to the center unit for administrative processes.
Thank you very kindly. Once again, a happy holiday to you. Ebeke, how do you take this home?
Well, I believe that all of us want a working nation, a working system, where every
We
Nigerian,
want a nation, first of all.
a nation, yes, a nation. We want us to transit from countryhood to nationhood. Now, how do we cross that bridge? We must rewire our thinking. We must change the way we look at things. We must do away with this prebendal primitive acquisition. We must work for a system whereby, like the old man that looks back, when we look back, there's a lot of, there are riches about Nigeria's past that we can be proud of. Now, we are at the present right now, where, like Barrister said, Nigeria is sick. And I agree with him. Nigeria is sick. But now, the man who is sick, the doctor can only ask, how are you feeling? Oh, this and this and this. Then the doctor will know where to proceed.
For the doctor, if it does not address the causes, the symptoms would...
No, but the patient too. That's why you see people who handle little children. They have to be special because a child cannot be crying. The child cannot say, this is where I feel pain or something. So you have to be, such a specialist that you can understand certain things about what could be happening to this child. So, but we at 64, we are not children anymore. We know where it is pinching us. We know what
except that at 64, gentlemen, we're still bedwetting.
Yes, but bedwetting can actually be corrected. Science has evolved. Medical science has evolved to the level that so many sicknesses can be treated or can be managed. So it's such that it's not a helpless situation.
Okay.
So what we need to do is that we must recalibrate our thought process. We must think about what do we need to do to make this nation better. And we have to start from the people. Who are the kind of people we vote into power? Yeah. What are our expectations? If you collect a loaf of bread, collect 2,000, collect rice and all of this thing, you ought to know that you are mortgaging your future.
Yeah.
So you must be strong enough morally to say no. And to look forward to leadership, to put into power people who think Nigeria first, Nigeria second, Nigeria fourth.
Okay.
Otherwise, we will just keep going round and round. And we keep also blaming ourselves, blaming the past, blaming the present, even blaming the future. But I hope we'll get to a point where we'll say no.
To the extent we can't invent the future, as they say.
You don't even need to invent the wheel. All you need to do is just repurpose it.
Okay.
To meet your needs. So, but I hope we'll get there without having to shed blood anymore.
Okay, Homo Politicus has done its job for today, but not before thanking Barrister Dami Damola Kolawole. Thank you for your presence.
Thank you for having me.
And your intervention. Sometimes
philosophical intervention.
Sometimes I fight to stand on the same side of the fence with you, but it's all right. Emeka Madonagu, I cannot thank you enough.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very much.
So Nigerians, take it or leave it, we are 64 and still counting, but the debate continues. Are we likely to see the Nigeria of our collective dream? Are we on the right path? Can we get there? Is it possible? The coming weeks will tell. And on behalf of the Backroom Boys, this is yours sincerely, Citizen Jones Hussein, saying bye-bye now. Take care.